you know, I'm a jazz guitar player. I have been studying jazz and now I have a YouTube channel, and the world around us has been changing very quickly and is changing still quickly. And I think everybody's trying to adapt. I think many people make YouTube videos and try to sell online courses, and we teach and we try to make a living. We play concerts, and there are many, many things that we can do to make a living. And I just want to share 3 things with you that have helped me in the past, especially last half year, to be happy and be a guitar player, be creative, and still earn some money as well. So one thing that I want to talk about is how I freed myself, sort of the algorithm, you know, not being so obsessed about it all the time. And the next thing that I already have been talking on here on this channel is how you can design your own workplace, jazz guitar workplace, in a way that you're still growing as a musician. And last but not least, I want to talk about how the body and the mind is connected, and how I'm meditating and doing sports, and how that has such a big impact on my life, much bigger than I ever thought. So I have been having a break for 1 month. I think many of you know that I shared a lot of rather personal stories here on the channel, talking about a lot of different stuff, because honestly, I'm sometimes so annoyed and also bored by all those videos. Everybody is seemingly talking about the same stuff. Everybody seems to be the best guitar player in the world, and a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes not being talked about. So I find that important, because I really think that it all goes hand in hand, right? How we live our life. And if we think we have to have such a perfect front, maybe that's not always the best way to be creative, I guess. And so I shared a lot of very personal stories, and I also got some rather hateful comments for the first time in a long time, because I never got them. And I think it's a good sign, right? Because that means I have a bigger reach, and that means more people are listening to me than before, and also people discover my channel that never have been watching any of my videos. But also it did something to me, and I felt like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't share all this personal stuff. So I also felt like reluctant to continue like this. But you know, because before it felt like I'm in a living room with, I feel like all my subscribers know me and understand me. But now that has changed apparently a little bit. And right, if you're having a YouTube channel, or if you're a human being at all, then you probably have some sort of a social media presence. And I think many of us, which is like total natural, are like completely obsessed with statistics, right? So I remember when I went with the ICE train, so that's the train in Germany that has a wireless LAN connection most of the time. I went to get some coffee, and there are many people, depending on the day and time when you travel, they work on the laptops, right? And everybody was working on the laptops, and I just, like, curious as I am, just had a glimpse. And I can tell you, I can't even fathom how many graphs, and like, you know, it all looked like algorithm. It looked like everybody is checking the algorithm in the train, which is probably not true, but I think it's something that occupies our mind a lot. And I also wanted to talk about something completely different and going out on a tangent. But so if you're having a YouTube channel or whatever, of course you want that it's doing good. So you're getting all those videos, how to do this thumbnail and which content and where's the niche. And then you hope that your video is going to do good, because it's a lot of work, to be sure. And then maybe you do a video about something that is really close to your heart, and you're really completely enthusiastic about it, and it just like completely bombs, and it doesn't grow, and nobody's commenting on it, and it just like is like not, it's apparently not a good video, right? Otherwise it would have been viral, right? That's of course not right, because stuff that gets viral sometimes needs to be very specifically different in other ways than, just like, to grab the attention of people is really getting hard, I guess. So I do a video like this that's really, I think, wow, I explained that concept really well, or whatever it is. And it doesn't go well. It doesn't get a lot of clicks, and then after 3 days, nobody's watching it anymore. Great. So next video, I will think, okay, what am I going to do that gets more clicks? And then all the stuff that I'm doing is always led by the thought of getting more clicks and possibly earning more from AdSense, right? And forgetting about what I think is good or interesting or whatever. And this, of course, is not always like this. That's like a pendulum. Sometimes I just do a video that I want to do anyways. But right in the back of my mind, always thinking about the algorithm, always hoping the next thing will be like, make my channel explode. And that goes on for a very long time. Plus getting the hateful comments. It's easy to get a little resentful because I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm doing all that work and right, it doesn't lead anywhere. So I took this break that I really needed a lot. And in this break, I bought myself my first online course, which is kind of ridiculous because if you know me, you know that I have 2 online courses that I'm selling, and I never bought a single online course for myself. Maybe small courses, right? Like, my music master classes, or I bought a lot of courses from Kurt Rosenwinkel, of course. But like, I bought a course about writing newsletters. I think many of you got a lot of newsletters from me lately. And I bought this course by Jenna Kutcher, and I needed like such a long time to get myself there because it's kind of expensive. And I thought like, man, I just like thought it can't be helpful, sort of, right? Because course is about marketing and maybe also making money, finances, how to run a YouTube channel and all this stuff. I'm always very skeptical. And now I learned in the last month, still learning how to write newsletters in a better way, but also how to generate a flow. So a flow, I highly recommend doing that. A flow is basically an automated sequence of newsletter that goes out to the people that are on your list. So typically you build a freebie that could be like the Topaz chord arrangement that you can find in the description box below. So people opt in, they give you their email address, and then they get the free whatever it is. And then if you have like a good email program, a sequence of emails get triggered. So I know that sounds all very boring, but hear me out. And you can design in which order they get the emails and how many days are in between and what's the content of the emails. But the good news is you don't have to do anything at all anymore. And that's so freeing, because people get good newsletter with good content, and then they get the occasional sale where you, for example, selling a product, an online course, but not, it's not like people get on your newsletter and then you sell the course immediately, but it's more like you're building a relationship and you're just like saying, look, that's what I have to offer and that's what is on my mind. And here I have that product. You might be interested. And then you set up this flow and you don't have to do anything anymore. And it also doesn't matter anymore if your video is doing good or not. because in the, behind the scenes, you're collecting the email addresses, you're building your flows, you're building your community. Like I'm building a community for so many years, but I always neglected to sort of get the personal contact of the email address, and maybe to host a webinar, or maybe to have a platform where I can have a community. I still don't have that, but I want to build that. And then oh, that video didn't get so many clicks maybe, but behind the scene, you're collecting all the email addresses and you're selling courses and you're getting the context, and then you free yourself all of that crazy algorithm checking. And for me, that really works well. So I bought this specific course from Jenna Kutcher, and I have been working with it. And while I have been working on this course that I really like a lot, I'm going to link to it in the description box, I just realized that this course is so perfect, and I really wanted to just do a guitar course like this as well, but that's so much work that I didn't even started doing that. But it's just inspiring. For example, she has slides where she talks about stuff, but she also has the audio recordings, and she also has PDFs. So if you're learning with that course, you have the video, the PDF, and the audio. And what I did, I just put the audio tracks on my smartphone, and I could listen to it everywhere. And what was really interesting for me is, because I think that's a problem that many jazz guitar players have that have been playing jazz guitar for such a long time, is to understand how hard it is to get into playing jazz guitar, and to explain it in a way that really helps. So to get back into a beginner's mindset. And so I have been thinking about that a lot, because I find there are lots of videos out there where you can really see people explaining concept, and then they have to explain the next concept and the next concept. It's just like the box of Pandora. If you're starting to talk about something, analyzing a jazz standard, and then it's just really easy to get from one thing to the next. And I've been just thinking about it a lot. And so I'm also hosting this webinar coming Tuesday, if you're interested, which is a chord melody arrangement course on summertime, which is really designed for beginners. And I'm just, have been racking my brain how I can give people the tools to do it without completely overwhelming them with jazz harmony. Because with my own learning of the newsletter marketing, oh my goodness, I was so overwhelmed, because, I don't have a background in computer or newsletter, or I don't have a background in marketing. Don't even know a lot of stuff, how I can make my workflow easier on the computer, I guess. And also I wanted to do some Facebook ads, and I went absolutely, oh my goodness, absolutely crazy with those ads. I find it so hard, because apparently I have 4 business managers and I don't know how many pixels, and it's a complete mess, and I really needed to work on that. And just what I want to say is, I got a glimpse back into how it is to learn something new, and how it feels to learn something where you don't have a network where your new knowledge can sort of go into. And so I find that very interesting. And now that I have that newsletter set up, which is also still work in progress, like everything, but I can sleep a little better, because I know there is something in the back of everything working sort of while I'm sleeping. And I know if people have told me that in the past, I would just have said, yeah, right. But give it a try. You can get any sort of a, mail program, for example, MailChimp. Start collecting your mail addresses, start sending out newsletter, and maybe try to build the one or the other flow that automatically sells your product because it's really helpful. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is designing your workplace. So with that, I mean, we are guitar players, musicians. We always want to grow and to get better, but we also have to earn some money. And just, I don't know, it sounds really stupid, but just lately, and you know, I've been playing the guitar forever, I sort of started to play by ear so much more than before, and it seems like something has clicked now that I'm 51. And I'm just telling you because it's really a long journey, and of course I'm not at the end of my journey, but I just feel like I reached another level. And it takes such a long time, and we can't give up, and we have to be patient, but we also have to create an environment where we nurture ourselves. And one way how I did that, or still doing that, is with the YouTube channel here, because I'm getting the students that are specifically interested in jazz here, and I'm only teaching jazz guitar students, which leads to the fact that I'm playing 10 hours a week of jazz standards, because I'm mostly working on tunes with my students, and most of the classes start with an improvisation, and then we just look how we can work on the tune, and I look how I can help the student. I'm also working on a lot of transcriptions with my students, so I'm checking the transcription with them. So basically I'm helping them and I'm helping myself at the same time, because I'm immersed in the jazz, standards and transcriptions all the time. And I think that really pays off. And I know it can be really tricky to have students that are interested specifically in whatever style you play. But I think having a YouTube channel can make that easier, because so let's say in general, there's a difference if a student comes to you because the students wants to have a guitar teacher, or the student comes to you because they want to have a lesson with you specifically. That's a big difference. And if you want to have students that want to have lessons specifically with you, you will have to have sort of a channel somewhere so that they see you and see how you teach and how you are, what you're talking about. And it can take a long time. I think it took maybe 5 years. I'm doing that now for 10 years. But it's really very rewarding. And yeah, I couldn't be happier to play so much, still work on my own stuff. Also share the enthusiasm with my students. And sometimes if I'm not enthusiastic, students bring in stuff that I like. And so it's a really good thing. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about doing sports and meditating. I'm meditating every day for 20 minutes, and I'm doing a lot of sport in the meanwhile. And I can tell you that it makes the biggest difference. So I started doing CrossFit. And I'm completely anxious and afraid of some of the exercises, especially with the barbell, if that's the right word, with Olympic weightlifting, because I have a lot of respect for this long and heavy thing there. And so I'm freaked out. But thanks to my meditation practice, I can still go there and do that, because I can calm my mind a little bit and get a little distance to my thought spirals, because I tend to have those obsessive negative thought spirals that I get into, and that they prevent me from doing anything. So if I'm meditating, I can sort of reactivate myself, and I go there and I do something that I'm really afraid of, actually, but then I did it. And also, I don't know how it actually works, but feeling how much strength I have in my body, me personally, right, helps me so much being confident in other areas of my life. So it's like if I can lift this weight and it's not heavy and it's not important how heavy it is, it's just that I do it somehow, is giving me the confidence and the feeling. It's not so much a thought, it's more the feeling that I sort of can take on the world. And with all my business ideas, I can tell you it's a lot. It's really a lot to do all the stuff and also to have a positive energy. In the meanwhile, when I'm overwhelmed and I think like I can't do it, imposter syndrome, I will always have it. I'm sure about it. Always question myself. I think it's just part probably of being an artist. But if I find myself getting in this place, I go and do some sports, because even if I don't have the time, which I know completely sort of paradox, I still go and move my body and also do something that's hard, sort of. And when I leave the gym or the CrossFit, I know most of the time, like 99% of the time, I feel I'm mentally strong enough as well to do whatever it needs to be done. So yeah, as always, I think it's about knowing yourself. It's so tricky, right? I'm also having kind of not problems, but sometimes just to understand my own feelings can be really hard, because to rationalize what you're, yourself, why? We all do it. I'm rationalizing everything all the time. But yeah, it's just like a mix of thinking and feeling, but most of all, not giving up. And there's always a way how you can turn your life around for yourself and make it good for yourself. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments below, and see you around. Bye.